Hello, this is Paul Hoyt, CEO of Ascending Harvest, coming to you with our daily Zoomcast on Monday, October the 22nd. I'm here with my best buddy, business partner, resident inventor genius with Ascending Harvest, Shane McKenna. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about the status of the company and the crowdfunding project we've got going on. And then I'm real excited to talk to you when we're done with that, about Epiphanies, Insights, and Solutions. Shane and I are going to have a lively, spirited debate about use of terminologies and the nature of insights and epiphanies and all of those things, and you get to watch. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. So before we do that, though, Shane, say hello to the folks.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to win this debate.
Well said. Well said. I like it.
And hello.
Oh, well, I always appreciate an optimistic competitor. It just makes it that much more fun whenever I declare victory for myself, as you have already done for yourself. But before we get into the spirited debate part of it, or maybe we're already into it, we'll pause for a moment for a brief commercial message from our sponsor, Ascending Harvest. Ascending Harvest is in the middle of a crowdfunding campaign, and we've had a bit of success over the last few days. We're up to $11,000, I think it's $350 plus 145 contributors. We're starting to get the interest of some foundations and some potential investor prospects. So we're all excited about that. We appreciate each and every one of you who've contributed a buck or 5 or 10 or 20. We really do appreciate your support of Ascending Harvest. When we meet our goals, our intention are to get this project in front of very large NGO, that's non-government organizations who are focused on charity and aid, and government organizations who provide foreign aid to countries who really desperately need these systems. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in days to come, but we've stumbled upon some really good languaging over the last couple of days or so with regards to the value that we bring to some of to the people who use our systems. And there's a term out there called nutritional adequacy, which came up. Like I say, we'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow or the next day. But really what we do is help people have a nutritionally adequate diet. You know, they can sustain life from cornmeal mush and from other sorts of aid, which are very typical in developing countries and refugee camps, but they really don't have a nutritionally adequate diet. And that's what we allow them to do. You know, they can not only supply a lot of their daily caloric needs, but they can do it in such a rich variety that they get the minerals, the nutrients, the vitamins that they need for their bodies to thrive, for their brains to thrive, for them to thrive as human beings. And we're very excited about that.
Yes. There's some great research that one of the people on our team, Abraham Tinklepaw, thank you so much for finding this research, because it's very eye-opening, and we're very excited to share that with you.
So maybe we talk about that tomorrow, but today we're going to talk about a little bit of something else. If you're listening into this recording or listening to us live, you know, by all means, go to ascendingharvest.com. You know, give us your email address and name, or better yet, click on the green donate button, which takes you to our Indiegogo campaign. And in our Indiegogo campaign, you can give $1, $20, $100, whatever you want. You'll see various levels there that suggest levels of contribution, but there's always Back It, which is a button on the Indiegogo site, which allows you to put in whatever amount you feel comfortable putting in. So like I say, a buck, 5, 10, we've had a couple of people give a lot more than that, and we're really, really excited about that. But help us meet our goal of $27,500 so that we can get our project in front of the people who can really fund this. Jane and I were talking this morning about how we would really love to get 10,000 systems manufactured and begin getting them in the hands of the people who need them the most, so we can fine-tune the systems, so we can begin bringing the value to them that we know that we can bring. So we're excited about that. Join us if you haven't already. So
yes, please. And you notice that I keep looking down, but that's because I'm checking our different feeds that we have going on to see if anybody is raising questions. I get some waves now and then from friends, so thank you for giving us a wave. But I do like to check during our broadcast to see if somebody's sending us a question that we can address live right here. So if you want to ask a question, feel free to reach out and send us a question. And if we catch it, we'll answer it live. And if we don't catch it, then we will address it in a different broadcast.
Well said. Let's talk about what we were going to talk about today and, fulfill our promise of a spirited and lively engagement or debate. So Shane wrote this little, some copy about some of the speeches that he is prepared to give. He really has become quite a very effective and powerful and persuasive public speaker. And one of the things he loves to talk about is how value flows to abundance. So we're
other way around.
Abundance flows to value. Thank you. I blew that one already. It really is a great speech. I've heard him talk about this subject for a number of years now, and now he's prepared to really talk about how you can apply that principle in your own life. But one of the words that he had mentioned in his media kit that he is beginning to prepare is about an epiphany. And Shane, go ahead and share with us what you had shared with him, and then I'll talk to you about how wrong you were. Go ahead.
Well, I think Paul and I just have a difference in how we use that word. I use it in more of a general term, an epiphany being that aha moment, or that moment when that fresh idea strikes, where you've been working on something for a while, and what I find happens is that you're working on a project and you've been asking the questions, you've been preparing yourself, you've been doing the work to find the answers, and then suddenly that answer comes. And it comes with such clarity that it takes you to a completely new place, a new level of possibility. Mm. And to me, that's where I use the word epiphany. Now, the actual definition of epiphany, or where it's typically used, can be much deeper than that, have a much deeper, more spiritual meaning. But that's where I use the term, and we're going to leverage that a little bit to talk about aha moments and how to actuate on them.
I love that. Yeah, I'm reminded of many years ago in high school, actually, I became aware of some work done by Samuel Hayakawa, who wrote a book. I don't remember the name of it, but he was a semanticist who later became a senator from California. And essentially the principle of his book was that words have no inherent meaning. They're only the meaning that we ascribe to them, and there is no such thing as the true use of a word. There's a common use of a word or an intended use of a word, but we all have our own different languages. And that, by the way, has been one of my insights, maybe even an epiphany, is how we all speak different languages. And Shane's a little ADD and I'm a little OCD, so sometimes our initials clash with each other a little bit. And one of the ways I'm a little OCD is on language. It's like, oh, wait, that word, you're using a word in a different way than I'm using that word. We must be defining that word a little bit differently. And epiphany was one of those words for me. I have a different context for that word whenever I hear it or see it or use it than he had. I think about epiphanies and insights and breakthroughs and aha moments and eureka moments and ideas and all of those kinds of things as kind of a collection of words that describe one of these insightful moments, or this eureka moment, or this breakthrough kind of moment where you see something opening up. It's like a door opening up, and all of a sudden you see the path, you see the way, you see a solution to your problem, and you jump through it and go for it. So, I'm thinking that this debate may be about over, because I think I'm about ready to give up and declare you the winner, Shane. And the winner in the sense that you are free to use that word however you want to use that word, and I'm free to use it however I want to use it too. One quick point, I did remember when I was I took philosophy in college. I was going to be a philosophy major, and that lasted about 30 days. Into my into my first course in philosophy. And at the end of that 30 days, I figured out that 95% of all disagreements and all philosophical debates in that context were based on a differences of assumptions and definitions. That once you cleared away all of your assumptions, and once you got very clear on what your definitions were, that there was very little debate left at all. And I think that's really true in real life too, that 95% of all of our arguments are based on differences of assumptions and differences in definitions. But once we break through those, we can all share our insights very easily with each other, that we can share those breakthrough moments and maybe even pass them along so that my breakthrough can become your breakthrough and my idea can become an idea that you can use and you can act on and put into action itself. I want Shane to talk about that for a little bit, but I also want him to open up the subject of acting on the insights that you have, or taking that epiphany and implementing it in some way, because that's his specialty. I mean, he's an engineer. He actually takes these ideas and creates physical things with them, you know, machines that work and wheels that move and that kind of thing, which I think is pretty darn cool. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about implementing your epiphany, Shane.
Yeah, so, you know, my history as both an artist and as an engineer, it's really kind of interesting because I'm moving it two different directions. So in engineering, we take an idea, something, and it could be quite ethereal. It could be a concept. What if we, and then fill in the blank, and what we do is we take that and we make that as concrete as possible. So we will apply our engineering know-how and our tools and prototyping and all of those things to take something from an idea and make it as concrete as possible and as closely defined to its intended goal as we can get. Whereas in art, we'll take mediums, different mediums, which are very well defined. You know, it's paint, it's stone, it's wood, it's clay, it's canvas, and we'll take that, and oftentimes we'll move that into as abstract as we can get. So it's interesting. I love to create abstract art, and I love to take an abstract idea and create a concrete object. So I seem to have found this place where, or I seem to have this ability where I can go from abstract to concrete or from concrete to abstract. And I love moving both directions because there's something different that happens in both of those.
Yeah.
When we're going from abstract to concrete, we're defining something. We're creating as close to the ideal of our design. We're taking that and we're moving towards that ideal object, that solution, that ideal solution. And in the art world, we're communicating something different, and that can even be as different especially when we're creating abstract art. What that moves the viewer to can be completely different based on where they're at. And so rather than something that's concrete, we're giving the viewer an opportunity to be moved in a direction that suits them in the place and in the mood where they're actually at. And so these are really interesting things to play with, and it's very exciting to see what comes out. But in terms of moving towards taking your idea and then moving that towards an executed idea, so that it no longer is just up here in the vapors of your imagination, but you're making it real. You're moving the world into a new place, into a new direction, into a new possibility. The key to that, in my mind, is to get started. Mm-hmm. Once you have that idea, the key is to get started. And then it's about your persistence and your dedication to asking the right questions and seeking the solutions that will come. The biggest mistake I find that people make when they are in the process of going from idea to a concrete reality is that they allow themselves to be stalled or stopped or frustrated by the fact that they don't have all of the answers.
Yeah.
That is the number one mistake I see in this process, is that people say, well, I don't know how are we going to do this? And they can't can't emotionally move forward until they answer that question. And the problem is they haven't done enough of the journey yet for that part of the solution to become evident. They haven't done enough of the work. They haven't laid the groundwork. They haven't asked all the questions. And so that solution eludes them, so they never get started. They only take a few steps into the journey and they're like, I don't know what's next. I don't know where I'm going. And instead of evaluating and asking the questions, they just stop, and that idea falls to dust. It's as if it might as well have not have been thought. But if you will take that journey, if you will trust in the steps, if you'll do the preparation, if you'll ask the questions, when you move closer to where that part of the solution needs to be solved, it will become more and more evident, it will become more and more crystal clear, or you will be introduced to the right people who bring the answer. You don't have to have all the answers. Somebody out there has the answers. You just have to move towards the solution so that you can get introduced to those people, and you will be introduced to those people by being persistent and continuing to ask the questions and reaching outside yourself. And I found very few projects in my career that we just couldn't find the answer. The answers are already out there. They may not be what your preconceived notion were, but the answers are there, the solutions are there. A great example is going to the moon. When it was declared we are going to go to the moon, we didn't know how we were going to do that. There was 10,000, 100,000, 1 million solutions that had to be created to get there. And at the time we said we're going to go to the moon, there is no way that we could have just turned the switch and gone to the moon. No, there's so many things that had to be solved, but taking the journey is what gets you to that place.
I love it. I love it. Well said. You would be well advised to rewind this recording a little bit and watch that section again and listen to Shane talk about taking those first steps. And when you're done listening to him again, I'm going to suggest that one of those very first steps that you can do is write that idea down. Pick up a pen, pick up a pencil, grab a piece of paper, and write it down, or type it in, to a word processor somewhere. But I'm also a big fan of writing things out longhand. Because when you write your ideas down, when you write your dreams, your goals, your visions, your intentions down, it really begins that process of taking it from the intangible into the tangible. The first time that those words hit paper, all of a sudden they start to become more real. When you write your goals down, for example, it start to become very real to you. And when you publish them in some way, when you print them out and put them on Post-it notes and put them on your mirror, or you make a Facebook post about your goals and you express that publicly, then they can even become more real to you. And that really facilitates the process of taking this idea from the intangible to the tangible into actually being a solution. That's certainly what I do, sometimes many times a day. Whenever I have an insight or an idea or something that really facilitates, my business, my interpersonal journey of any kind, I take that idea and I write it down. It's been the basis of a couple of books that I've written. The Practice of Awakening and The First Light of Joy were both collections of insights that I had over a period of years and felt like I wanted to share with other people. There's a lot more insights that I've got there in the 3 or 4 books that I've written that haven't been published yet. So I am a big fan of writing down your ideas and writing down your insights, your epiphanies, if you will, so that you can begin to take action on them. And Shane, my good buddy this morning, was gracious enough to say that, you know, even just paying attention to an insight or writing it down is in its own way taking action on it and beginning to implement that in some way and make it real in some way. So that's the first step that I definitely recommend to everybody.
You know, we have these moments of clarity and direction, and you know, frequently we'll say to ourselves, "Oh, but I can't do that." You know, maybe it seems too daunting. There's, you know, you're working on a problem, and the solution comes to you, or a partial solution that, you know, you have a little bit of a breakthrough, and it's pointing you in a certain direction, and we don't act on it out of fear, where we fear the unknown. We fear, well, what could go wrong? What if I'm wrong? You know what? If you're wrong, find out fast. The sooner you find out you're wrong, then you can eliminate that as a possibility. But you know, in the product development world, we have a couple of rules that help you keep you on track. One is minimum viable. So minimum viable product. So when you're working on something, you don't have to build the jet to prove the jet engine works, right? What's the minimum thing that you can do to prove that the concept is going to work? So that's number one. So start your journey on the minimum. And then, oh gosh, I lost track of what else I was going to say about that. But your minimum viable product, and fail fast, and then move on. So that's one of the things we do. We get a concept. I was working on an invention this summer, and I was absolutely sure that I had cracked the solution to this invention. And we built the prototype, and when we fired the prototype up, it sort of worked, but it was really hard to control. And for a couple of weeks, I played around with how to control this new technology, and I couldn't crack it. So we set it on the shelf, and we went and we took a few steps back, and we created another iteration of it that was a little bit safer, and that one worked beautifully. It's not as efficient as we'd like, but it's a minimum viable product. We were able to move forward with the project with the minimum viable product. Is it as good as we would like to end up? No. But we'll solve that greater problem as we move forward and get better answers, get more breakthroughs. Those answers will come as we move forward with that technology.
Awesome. I want to relate this all back to Ascending Harvest, because Ascending Harvest actually began last January when Shane came to me and said, "Paul, I have this breakthrough. I have this epiphany, this aha moment on how we can do human-powered hydroponic gardens, how we can actually do this." And he came up with concepts that have been patented since then, and has taken action on those insights, those breakthroughs, those epiphanies that he has had, and created this entire company around Ascending Harvest and the breakthrough of that, the implementation of those technologies. So that's one thing that I think is really significant, that this company really is the result of an engineering breakthrough. It's a result of an epiphany on how to do hydroponic gardens without any electricity, which has never been done before in the history of the world. So that has been the basis and the foundation for our company. The other thing he mentioned just a few minutes ago was, having this big, hairy, audacious goal, having this big, huge vision for what it is you want to do and not really understanding how to get there. And of course, our big goal with Ascending Harvest is ending world hunger. But I think the difference is we kind of know how to do that. The know how to do it is put enough of these human-powered hydroponic gardens in the hands of people, and we will end the world hunger problem. We can just imagine that every person that's born on the planet, when they're born, they get 4 or 5 of these systems. Only would cost $200 to $250. And all of a sudden, they would be able to eventually meet most of their nutritional needs from those systems. So we can do it. With your help, we can do it. With the help of NGOs and government aid organizations, we can do it. We know that we can do it because we've got the solution, and we are eager as we can possibly be and excited about putting this in the hands of millions and maybe even billions of needy families around the world.
You know what's really beautiful about that breakthrough of human-powered is that actually came while on the journey, and I had already created a solar-powered technology to do the same thing, except it had solar power. And one of our charities said, Shane, we can't have solar powered. It'll be stolen the first day. And you have to make human powered. And so that forced us back on to asking the questions and to evaluating the journey. And this is the thing. You have a journey. You have this aha moment, and it starts you on this journey. But don't be so locked into the idea that you can't shift and change, because it's a journey. The destination, what's important is, are you going to fulfill the destination? Are you going to get there? Why does it matter if you're going to go a few hundred yards or a few thousand yards or several hundred miles on a different path than what you expected? The important thing is that you end up at your destination.
Amen. So we're wishing that every one of you has a lot of epiphanies, a lot of insights, a lot of breakthroughs and aha moments, and that you take action on those. Immediately write it down, and then begin to take the first steps in the directions of your dream. There's a famous quote by Goethe out there that I can't do anything but paraphrase. It says something like, the moment you begin to take action, you begin to move forward in the direction of your dreams, the universe unfolds and conspires to make those come true. And I believe that's true. I believe that's true for us. I believe that's true for you as well.
Absolutely. It's been my experience over and over and over again, both in going from concrete to abstract and going from abstract to concrete. That journey has fulfilled itself so many times when I didn't know how we were going to get there. I honestly didn't, and yet we got there because we took the journey.
All right. Well, come on a journey with us and tell us about your journey as well. We're always eager to hear about other people's insights, breakthroughs, aha, eureka moments, ideas, whatever word you want to put with that, and share them with us, and we will share them with the world. And today we're going to share, as we do at the end of almost all of our Zoomcasts, is we're going to share a human-powered hydroponic garden with some lucky person, either who has contributed to our Indiegogo campaign or otherwise given us their email address and names so that we could put them into our prize drawing. So Shane gives me a number between 1 and 10,000, and I plug it into my little spreadsheet here, and we will announce the winner. Shane, what's the number for today?
6,087. 6087. There we go.
6087.
6087.
And the winner of today's human-powered hydroponic garden is Joseph Hackett. Joe, congratulations. You are the winner of a human-powered hydroponic garden. We are going to give you one whenever we get out of mass manufacturing, now anticipated in about 6 months, or you can donate one to a family in your name at that point in time. Congratulations, Joe. You're the winner. If you're listening to this and you haven't done so already, go to Indiegogo. Kick us a buck. Share a little bit of your wealth with those who need it the most, and get your name entered into these prize drawings that we do every day. We'd love to have you as part of our team and part of the solution to this problem we got. Shane, are you ready to, actually, I'm done for the day. I'm going to let you take us out.
Paul, we didn't get to have a very spirited debate, but But that's okay because, Paul and I, we love each other. We love what each other stands for. We work so well together. I don't see us ever getting into a heated debate, maybe spirited, but it didn't happen today. So sorry to disappoint the boxing fans out there. We just didn't get there. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.